Thank you, Kahiso. I will ask our program director for the day to start so that she can lead us. Over to you, Sunita.
Morning, Sibo. The program director is Vanessa.
Okay.
Morning, Sibo.
Morning.
I'm not sure if you can see my video, but can you hear me?
We can see you. We can.
I can't see myself. I don't know where I'm
We
lost.
can hear you. We can hear
Okay.
you and we can see you.
Thank you. I can't see myself, so I'm just going to take your word for it. Okay, so is it fine to start, Sibo?
Are breaking, Vanessa. Or is it my connection?
Can everybody else hear me?
Yes, you're quite clear on our side. I'm not sure about the others.
Thanks, Shanita.
Yes, we can hear you, dear.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we can hear you. Thank you.
Vanessa, you can go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not sure why I can't see myself, but it's fine. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for KZN Viasa's World Book and Copyright Program. My name is Vanessa Reddy. I'm a public librarian working for Etiquette Libraries, and I'm the chair of PACLIC KZN. We hope that you will enjoy this morning's program as we have some wonderful speakers for you that will inspire and motivate you. Some house rules before we start. All mics to be muted, all cameras to be turned off, unless you're the speaker. And speakers, can I ask you to stick between 5 to 7 minutes? Without further ado, I'd like to start our program. And our first speaker for this morning is Shanita Bim, who is a principal librarian for St. Louis Municipality, as well as our PACLIC National Chair. So over to you, Shanita.
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you very much, Vanessa. It's wonderful for us to be all together. I think it's a great opportunity and a great start for us as the KZN branch. I'm going to share with you a little bit on reading, seeing that we just celebrated World Book Day. So just bear with me for a few seconds while I get my presentation sorted out. Thank you.
Good morning.
All right, thank you very much. I've got my colleague Pranisha with me. She's just helping me with the technology side of things. All right, I'm going to share with you my presentation. I hope I can keep up to the minutes, Vanessa. Called You Are a Reader, Changing Lives Through a Love of Books and Shared Reading. Just to move on to the next slide. Sorry, colleagues, just a little bit of technological hiccups.
Morning, Shanita.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good. I think what you need to do is to just put it in presenter mode. I think it will be easier for you to navigate. Yes, right there where at the top it says animations, there is slideshow.
Yeah.
You click on slideshow.
Yeah.
And then you can say from beginning, the first option over there from beginning. Click on that.
Okay.
And then it just, if you just press the arrow, it will go to the next slide.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What would we do without you? Awesome. Thank you so much. Just the slide. Going back. I don't know why it's not going back. All right. My apologies, colleagues. I must apologize. Sorry. So basically, just to start off the presentation, we all know a librarian is trained to be a manager, a collection development expert, a curriculum leader, a technology resource, and a teacher, working sometimes one-on-one with individual students in developing literacy and 21st century information skills. When we look at the constant evolving role of the librarian, we often find out that the work carried out by librarians goes far beyond lending out books and other publications. Their role in non-formal education and the promotion of extended literary competencies have been the basis for the development of events, programs, school visits, and outreach initiatives that happens in the majority of public libraries. These activities offer children a wide range of services and publications, which obviously promote the enjoyment of reading and the excitement of discovering knowledge and works of the imagination. When we look at developing literacy in early childhood, we know it plays a critical role in learning development. Literacy skills essentially set the stage for future education goals for parents and educators who will implement such. And these obviously will help children to grow academically. Beginning to stack those literacy building blocks in early childhood has several benefits for children, from education skills to emotional and even social skills. Implementing reading into the daily routine has profound developmental effects. And according to the Children's Reading Foundation, reading nurtures vocabulary, language, and early literacy skills. It also builds a child's confidence to work through challenges and show persistence in difficult tasks, as well as develop social and emotional skills, which are just as essential to school success. We all know about IFLA and we know of the IFLA guidelines, and these also highlight the importance of motivating parents and other adults to use libraries and perceive children as decisive in the success of libraries in their local communities. So the question that one would ask, are you a reader? And the answer is, everyone is a reader. Some just haven't found their favorite book yet. It is often deeply frustrating when someone is asked what is their favorite book or what authors they like to read, and they reply something along the lines of, I don't like reading, it's not for me, or even worse, reading bores me. This frustration comes from a place of sympathy, and obviously for a lot of us, we know that there is a book out there for every one of us. And as they say, reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. So sometimes when we do this, we have to say to ourselves, do we love reading? Well, I certainly love reading. And why do I agree with this? It's simply because reading has helped me to increase my knowledge, learn new words, and sometimes very long words, and also to escape into a different world. It makes me feel happy and it broadens my horizons. And I'm sure for many of us as public librarians out there in the field of our jobs, where all our work revolves around books, we can't say that we are not readers. And so we ask ourselves often, have you learned new skills through reading? Has reading helped your personal development? In our work of business environments, nobody has all the answers. We learn something new every single day, whether it's how to speak to somebody on the phone, the way we interact with other people, the questions we should have asked our customers or patrons, how we presented our company, or how we should have spoken to our spouse, partner, or family. Learning something new means you have to abandon for a little while, for at least, sorry, colleagues. You have to abandon, for a little while at least, the familiar and comforting. I happen to like this feeling. I remind myself that tomorrow I will be somebody who didn't exist yesterday. Sorry, colleagues, my computer seems to be stuck. It's paused. I must apologize for this. Reading helps me to learn new skills and broadens my knowledge every day, not just in my professional capacity, but also in my personal life. Reading is an act of being able to understand, comprehend, make sense, and interpret written symbols or letters. As we know, reading and writing are the premises to a secure occupational coherence. It is also closely related to the advancement an individual gets out of life. Each child needs to become fully competent in reading in order to succeed in school and to discharge responsibilities as a citizen of a society. A citizen who reads has the capacity to participate actively in the continuity of learning. The necessity to improve the low rate of library usage, information management, and reading culture among students particularly have been a daunting task amongst librarians. And we look at a quote from Open a World of Possible. This is our library card, she told me. There are many things I will never be able to buy my children, but because we have a library card, there is nothing they can't have. They can travel anywhere, learn anything, meet anyone, and ultimately become whatever they dream to be, because we have this card that gives us access to a world of books. And it's those books that will help you find the place in the world. Language literacy are amongst mankind's greatest inventions. Evolving and even dying over the course of human history, languages are a reflection of our cultural and societal attitudes. Today, surrounded by social media, television, movies, billboards, and of course books, the ability to read and write is crucial to forming an identity and expressing one's feelings. Most humans acquire language in early childhood and speak fluently when they are about 3 years old, but our continued relationship with language gives shape and meaning to our lives. Colleagues, I'm sorry for the interruptions. I hope I was able to share with you a little bit on the importance of reading. And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I want to say to each one of you, keep on reading and enjoy. Thank you. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you, Shanita. Wow, that was very inspiring, Shanita. Lots of librarians know about, but it's good to sometimes reinstill it in us. Can everybody still hear me? Our bandwidth is very bad in Durban at the moment.
Can hear you, Vanessa. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
okay,
I can hear you.
Thank you. So Shanita, I especially love the quote that reading is exercise for the brain. So the next time I go to the doctor and the doctor asks me, Vanessa, did you exercise? I'm going to say I read a book. So I would cover my exercise part of it. So can we move on?
Well done, Vanessa.
So can we move on to our next speaker? Our next speaker is Shireen Diaraj, and she is a senior librarian at EML Libraries. Over to you, Shireen.
Good morning, colleagues. Can you see and hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
I can
Shireen,
hear
thank you.
Yes, Shireen, we can see you.
Okay, thank you so much. Shanita, thank you for a lovely introduction to the workshop today. I think you've set the bar very high, and I think it's given the librarians who are present and the participants who are present a really good basis for the workshop that we are having today. I'm going to read from my presentation. I'm afraid I got an invitation very late and I have been on leave. So I'm just going to read from my presentation, if that's all right with all of you. So I'd like to greet all of you this morning, the LIASA Executive Committee, the PATLIG Executive Committee, past and present LIASA Librarians of the Year, LIASA members, our distinguished guest speakers, and all delegates present. The theme for World Book Day 2022 is Read, so you never feel alone. UNESCO aims to celebrate the occasion as a charitable purpose for more children from all backgrounds developing a lifelong habit of reading for pleasure, benefiting from the improved life chances the event brings them. Within this context, I would like to focus on the South African situation in terms of reading ability among children specifically. As we know, South Africa is facing a reading crisis. The most recent nationally representative and publicly available survey of reading outcomes, that is the Progress in International Reading Literacy Study 2016, shows that 78% of grade 4 children cannot read for meaning in any language. Although children's literacy rates improved gradually over the years, the current trajectory indicates that it will be 2098 before all the country's grade 4 children can read for meaning, according to Professor Nick Skoll from the University of Stellenbosch. Neuroscience research reveals that early childhood is the ideal time to develop the basic skills for reading fluency, and the degree to which children acquire language skills and become motivated, habitual readers is a strong predictor of future academic success, educational attainment, employment, and income. Additionally, the costs of addressing reading problems are much lower in early primary school. But improving literacy outcomes requires resource inputs, teaching, learning, and leisure reading material. For both teachers and children to use in class and at home. Research has shown that if children learn to read in a familiar language, not only do they stand a better chance of learning to read with meaning, but the transfer to English is easier. And yet, despite all this evidence that reading books are a cost-effective means of improving education outcomes, South Africa is very far from having abundant, accessible, and affordable African language reading materials. So what can we do as public librarians, given that it is not our core function to teach reading, nor do we necessarily have the skills to do so? I think it's crucial for public libraries to partner with local schools, especially disadvantaged schools, and to read aloud to children. Naturally, we need to select reading material and stories, etc., that resonate with the children's own experiences. But if we do not have adequate reading material in indigenous languages, the idea is to inculcate the habit of reading for pleasure. We need to demonstrate to children that reading is fun, enjoyable, and portable. It is not necessarily a chore that only has to be done when one is completing homework or conducting research. We need to make our library spaces welcoming and conducive to reading, but more importantly, we need to take the library to the schools if the schools cannot come to us. I think we're very fortunate that all public libraries in KZN have mobile library services. And so we need to make a concerted effort to start reading sessions on a regular basis, including holiday reading programs such as the summer reading programs in the USA, to prevent reading loss during school breaks. If our children are to compete in the economy, we need to do whatever we can to ensure that all learners are on the same level in terms of reading proficiency. Going back to Sunita's very beautiful presentation, I just want to inform the delegates that here at EML, we don't have children's librarians. And I think it's very important for us to collaborate. So perhaps this is a gap that LIASA KZN can fill in terms of workshops and training to empower and upskill librarians in EML. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, presenter. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Shireen. That was very informative, and you gave us lots of food for thought, especially when it comes to children's libraries and children's librarians. And I'm also very passionate about being a children's librarian. Okay, so we are off to our next speaker. Poetry is a rhythmical creation of beauty in words. That's a quote by Edgar Allan Poe. So our next poet is Craig Kandasamy. I hand it over to you, please. Hi, Craig.
Hi,
Are you with us?
Sunita? Yeah, I just can't get the video started.
Okay. Thank you.
We're going to start, but because you can hear us, we're going to start, okay?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. My name is Craig Kandasamy, and I'm a poet, and I have a poem I want to read. The name of the poem is called Free the Books. They say a picture speaks 1,000 words. Then that means a library is the gateway to an imagination where thousands of words are pictured. Pictures tell a story, but it's the words that create the story. Into a world of the great unknown, I step into the library, sit down, open a book, and my mind is blown. An institution of revolution and evolution. The books I've read have somehow led me to always find a solution. They have kept my thoughts to stay woke. From the bed in my head, I leapt and faced hope. A quiet place to relax, study, learn, grow. And a mind can be fed, whether young or old. A library serves purpose, so literacy and education can surface. In a time where most feel books deserve to be thrown in a furnace, yet books light the path for future generations and for substance to be in service. I live in a society where books have been mistreated. Read, read, read is my motto, or you will be defeated. Away from the real world and all its addictions, the mystery of a novel captures me in fiction. The library provides culture and tradition. Friction from my fingers turning the pages, a time machine, I travel through the ages. To the past and future, my thoughts out of mental cages. Stages of intelligent phrases, amazes and unlocks mazes in my mind. And I gasp out of breath in amazement that a book can take me on such a ride. In between the covers I hide, the library and I collide, collaborate. My secrets in the library I confide. Artifacts, the shelves of encyclopedias filled with arts and facts. An instant look, starving for knowledge. In a minute, I've got a book on my lap. Like a plate of food, I devour the stacks of snacks, geographical maps, children's storybooks, and historical data unkept. But the internet has the youth caught up in the screens. They have lost the plot. Silently, they scream. People don't read anymore. They communicate without moving their lips. They text and say, books are for geeks, but I say ignorance is bliss. Yet the library fights for freedom. Free the books, shout the free thinkers. Books in a library. Books are free in a library. I say books are free in a library, but nothing is free on social media. Our minds and thoughts are caught in chains. Books help to uncover and discover Look between the two covers, they explain the unexplained. To shape the mind of a creative, in a book, my life was created. I'm creativity busting out the seams. Author's authenticity ignite the flames in me. I'm the book that everyone sees, yet nobody reads. It's so peaceful and quiet in a library. You don't have to sleep, but believe me, you can dream. The librarians are an inspiration. They read between the lines and show us there's no limitations. For those hungry for knowledge of any kind, and most librarians I know are also very kind. Centuries of learning at their disposal, given to us for great innovation, giving us confidence to be vocal. It's the safest place I know. I walked in not knowing, walked out saying, now I know. So as I write this poem, Into Gratefulness is where I stare. I commend the library and all who work there, educating and motivating people to love reading and providing literature for scholars free of charge. It's an act of service that can never be compared. For this, I thank them and I also thank God. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Craig. That was wonderful. It was interesting, inspiring, intriguing, and very original. And I think that poem deserves a place in our 25-year celebration book of poems. I'm sure my colleagues will agree with me. So we've got
Yes,
our next.
I agree.
Hi, Vedika. I've already submitted
Thank
his
you.
poem
I think-
already.
Wow, we look forward to that. Okay, so an author only begins a book, but it's the reader who finishes it. So our next author, from the picture that I saw, I'm assuming that is Krish Govender. He's our next speaker. Over to you, Krish. You are well known at VML.
Yes. Good morning, colleagues and fellow readers and authors. I just need the admin to start my video. It says the admin has stopped the video. Ah, okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Krish Govender. I am an entrepreneur and an author. To date, I've written 6 books. I've just completed my 7th book, so I'm about to launch that. It's been an exciting journey. For some of you who don't know, this was my first book. It's called Finding My Family, an award-winning book. It won the Quail Award. And then that was so well received that I decided to write a follow-up, which is part 2, called Losing My Family. And the demand was such that I decided to write the final chapter, which is a trilogy called Fighting for My Family. And then during the pandemic, I was bored, and during the lockdown, so I sat and I wrote a compilation of short stories called South African Short Stories for Young Readers. Okay, and then I have 2 books that are published internationally. You wouldn't find them in South Africa. What I want to say is very, very simple. You know, we can talk very long and hard about reading and about writing. But for me, the simple truth and the message that I like to communicate to you as fellow listeners and for people that we want to read is that readers are leaders. If you want to lead or if you want to know, you got to read. And that's a message we got to part to our youth and encourage them to read local. As the president said recently, you know, local is lekker. And I commend the eThekwini municipality for supporting local authors. They have a few programs that support local authors, which is good. I've received their support and I was very grateful for that. In fact, one of my books, this book, Finding My Family, was taken to Austria by the municipality and shown in Austria. In terms of writing, for me, anyone can write a book. If you've gone to school and you've done English from grade 1 to grade 12, for me, you are overqualified to write a book. You know, you got 12 years of experience. So there's no reason for you not to write a book. Write a few words, put a few words together, and then you would get a sentence. And if you put a few sentences together, you get a paragraph. Put a few paragraphs together, you got a chapter. And lo and behold, put a few chapters together, about 10, and you got a book that's ready to publish. There's only one advice that I give. People always ask me, Krish, how or what do I need, or what is the requirements to write a book? My answer is very, very simple. All you got to do is write. There's only one requirement. If you want to write a book, it's as simple as that. You got to write. There's no other advice that I can be very esoterical and I can be very philosophical and very psychological and talk about all the different things that happen to a writer, but I don't want to put that as considerations or things as barriers. You know, some people say, no, I can only write at 6 a.m. in the morning, or I can only write when it's absolutely quiet, or I can only write when there's soft music in the background, or I can only write when I go and sit along the beach. For me, those are just things that make it a little more difficult to encourage people to write, because you're looking for that secret environment. And there's no secret. For me, I write anytime. I could be at work, I'll be writing. I could be having dinner, a thought will come to me, I'll make a few notes. I could be in the shower and suddenly an idea pops into my head, and then obviously I'm not going to jump out of the shower and start writing. So I would just quickly dry myself off and then open my laptop and make a few notes. So for me, there is no specific time to write. You just write anytime. And you know, I was speaking at a career day a few days ago, and I told the people, you know, you can make a lot of money from writing. These books of mine, these books have been accepted by the Gauteng Department of Education. They've reviewed it and they've accepted it, and they've literally ordered stacks of it to put in all the school libraries. The KZN Department of Education has done that. They've reviewed my books, they've approved it, and buying it for the libraries. So there is money to be made. Besides just being an author, you can also use it as a source of income. The last thing I want to say is that anyone can write at any age. You know, my mom is 84 years old and she just wrote a book at 84. And in a month or two, she will be publishing a book and launching it. And I also met an author who was 8 years old. He wrote a book, very simple book, drew stick figures, wrote a book. It was about 3 pages, but he wrote a book and his name is on the cover and he launched it, but it was a book for kids. So anyone can write a book. And I want to encourage you, start. You can't write a book by just thinking about writing a book. There's some physical action that you gotta do, which is sit at a table, or sit in front of a computer or a typewriter or book and pen if you don't like typing. Like my mom, she can't type on a word processor, so she wrote an entire book handwritten, and we got a typist to type it. So that's my message to you. One quick suggestion I want to make is that eThekwini Parks and Gardens, they started a very interesting program to encourage people to grow their own vegetables. And I think it was called One Home, One Garden. And they went on a massive campaign promoting that particular project. I want to encourage eThekwini Library Services to start a project or a little program to encourage reading by starting a program called One Home, One Bookshelf. Have a bookshelf in your home. It doesn't have to be a bookshelf like a library with 3 or 4 shelves. It can be just one shelf, where on that shelf there is a religious book. It can be any religious book, a Bible, a Quran, a Bhagavad Gita. Have a comic, have a magazine, have a novel from a famous author, have a children's book. And always have it available, so when a child wants to read, he always has a book readily available for him to go and pick up and read. And that will be a good project. And every home, imagine every home has a little space, a little corner that has a little bookshelf that has books where kids can go pick up and read. And it'll be a fantastic project to encourage reading. I want to thank the members of this committee for giving me this opportunity to address you all. And I wish you well. And I think eThekwini is on the right trajectory in terms of its encouragement of youth to read. They have fantastic services. I'm always excited to walk into a library. The biggest thing that happened to me was a lifelong dream where I walked into an eThekwini library and on the shelf, I saw my book. For me, that was the ultimate. Thank you again and have a good day. Back to you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Krish. That was very thought-provoking and inspiring. And we're grateful to you. And we congratulate you on your success as an author and for the many books that you have written. And I'm sure there's many more to come. And congratulations to your mom. Wow, that is so inspiring to all of us. Also, we are grateful to you for producing books, writing and producing books, because without you, our shelves will be empty. So well done to you and to your fellow authors. Our next speaker will be Sandile Mbedu, who is a poet. So can I hand you over to Sandile?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandile Mbedu from Pietermaritzburg, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity that you have given me today to perform my poem, my Zulu poem, actually. I hope you will hear it and understand it and enjoy it. So here it is. Bengingazi lutho mayelana nomtapo olwazi nosolwazi bomtapo bolwazi. Kodwa umngani wami uthola ulwazi wangicobelela ulwazi nami ngase ngaba nolwazi. Kuthela ngalimbe nami ngase ngihamba nginikele emtapweni olwazi ukuze nami ngizothola ulwazi. Ngithe mangifika khona bangitholela isihlalo bangihlalisa phansi bathi bhuti hlala nangempela ngahlala ngathatha ipeni ngabhala. Inkondlo istanzana zesinkondlo isihloko sayo sithi umtapo olwazi nosolwazi bomtapo olwazi. Nina niqhakambisa ukufunda nokulalela izincwadi zolwazi ezinhlobonhlobo. Umtapo wolwazi nosolwazi bomtapo wolwazi banobukhulu ubuhlobo. Emphakathini nidlala enkulu indima. Thina siyefana nensimu sindima kunina. We create, update and collaborate because of the libraries. We solve problems towards goals. We progress because of the librarians. Nibekile induku ebandla bandla. Njengoba umnene beni nina niyafana nelikaNkulunkulu ibandla. You guys bring back peace esweni lakithi. Nisebenzisa ubuchule nobuchwepheshe ukuze nenze thina obuchwepheshe. Nisifundisela ukuba nolwazi olunzulu. Nisigqugquzela nangokufunda izincwadi zolimi lwethu lesizulu ukuthi sibe nani emphakathini. Ngiyabona avumile amaZulu. Umtapo wolwazi nosolwazi bomtapo wolwazi. Ukitsadi Dragon imbongo enga-give up. Institute Library I represent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandile. I must confess that the first half of the poem I did not understand, but I felt your passion through your words. And I'm sure whatever you said did resonate within us. So well done to you. Our next speaker is Mr. Cornea, and he's an author.
Good morning, my fellow people. My name is William Cornea. I'm a book reader. I started reading books at my early stage of the childhood, and it empowers me a lot in my mind. I also encourage people to read, because by reading, I always find peace after reading a book. As a retired person, I decided to write a book. So now I do both, reading and writing, mostly Zulu novels. As I said, I always enjoy my writing. I further develop my skills by inspiring other people by reading. In this period of my life, I have authored 4 books which are titled Amehlo Umhlaba, Isibopho Somfelokazi, Ngale Kwebala, and Isibongo. And I also wrote for the children which are yet to be released. I'd like to see my books online. I'm confident that this will be feasible with your help. I'd like to put my novels on the internet so that people who are in our era can also reach them. It will be great honor for me if one of my novels become one of the most popular. Without your assistance, I'll be unable to do this task. Writing in this way, I will always be in a part of it. Will be in the way of my part. Thank you very much. I also want to represent 2 of them, to show 2 of them. Thank you very much, my people. Thank you very much. Sorry. Okay, this book is about the title is Isibongo, the same name. This book, it tells about a small other guy who grew up without his surname. Afterward, he found it very difficult. So time to times, he found his way to get his surname. The second one is about the young lady who comes from the rural areas, who come to town, who come to the city to develop or to further her education, but afterwards she fell on drug situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cornea. We hope to fulfill your wish of having your book being a bestseller and to see it on all our library shelves. Thank you for publishing indigenous books, indigenous books in indigenous languages, because that is welcome at all our libraries. Thank you to Sunita for bringing the youngsters with the poems and for bringing Mr. Cornea. We would now like to give you guys an opportunity to take questions. So if anybody has questions, you can please raise your hand. Okay, there doesn't seem to be anybody for questions. Or if you would like to.
Chair, can I ask a question?
Sure. Please go ahead.
Okay. I just want to find out what is the current status of the One City, One Book program. Is it still active, and is it still a program that the city is running?
Yes, it is, but I'd like to hand you over to Sibo to answer that question.
Hi, Krish. Yes, it's still on, and the nominations are open as we talk. I will forward you the nominations form. Thank you.
Is that okay, Krish? Has that answered your question?
Yes, thank you. I think that answers my question, but also, we should encourage more authors in this forum to also submit and also give them access to that opportunity.
Noted. Okay, so it's been a wonderful program. So we now move to our last item, which will be the vote of thanks by Sunita Richard, who's our KZN BC Chair-elect. Over to you, Sunita.
Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Vanessa, for being an awesome program director. They say today's leaders manage knowledge workers. And indeed, to my mentor, my boss, my motivator, Sunita Beam, thank you so much. And Shireen Diaraj as well. Thank you so much. You were both awesome and fantastic with your presentations. Thank you to our leaders for sharing your knowledge. We appreciate it. To our poets, Craig Kandasambe and Sandila Mbedu, they say our dynamic creators who are thinkers and they captivate our minds with the expressive words. So thank you guys for sharing and for taking my advice and writing a poem for the library, especially for World Book Day. So thank you for that. Both your poems are going to have been sent off to Liasa already. So let's just hope all goes well, and wishing that you one day will be able to publish all your work as well. So thank you guys for that. To the authors, Mr. Govender and Mr. Cornea, thank you so much for sharing. I think we've all learned a lot as well. And we hope much success for both of y'all in y'all's futures as well. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. We appreciate it. And we're hoping to have more workshops in time to come. So please keep a lookout as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Sunita. Thank you everyone for attending. I hope you all have learned something, taken something away. And I wish you all the best and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye.